All right, here with part two of my videos on my weight loss journey. We wrapped up part one at the point of surgery. I had my surgery on November 17th of 2022. Surgically, everything went fine. I was a little disappointed in the way some of the situation was handled. Never spoke to my surgeon once after the surgery. Totally unrelated doctor came in to check on me for about a minute. Um, in the whole time from when I got out of surgery to when they shipped me out the door, not one person, a nurse, a doctor, or anything, so much as lifted up the gown to look at the incisions or any of that. Um, wasn't very pleased with how that all went. Right up until surgery, everything had gone well. After the fact, it just kind of felt like you were at a Jiffy Lube. So anyway, got done with that. Uh, Went home. Not a ton of pain, a little bit here and there, easily controlled, so that wasn't bad. Things healed up as they should. Um, so basically, other than a few complaints, surgery itself went fine and no real problems from it. During the course of the month of December, what happened is I ended up getting a little far behind on my food and water intake. It's hard to say to what degree. Um, I look at it as by the end of December, I was probably about 80% out of the 100 they want you at, following the post surgery diet and everything. Christmas hit, and I had a kidney stone. So we spent Christmas evening in the ER at Portsmouth Hospital. They sent me home. It took about a week to clear. The problem is, unfortunately, this is my second kidney stone, so everyone who's had one knows the nausea and everything that goes along with it. And where it took 7 days to pass it, it made it, very hard to get food in that amount of time. So that's kind of where the comedy of errors began. Um, I would say, you know, by the end of that week, I had probably gone from 80% down to 70%. Shortly after that was over, early January, I ended up with a very severe sinus infection. Um, what that led to is tons of phlegm, tons of coughing, um, throwing up tons of phlegm, all of which led to me not being able to get a whole lot of food and water in and keep it down. So the 70% probably dropped to around 60%. Um, you can probably see where this is headed. After that, I ended up, we didn't actually go in for it, but we believe it was a case of thrush. So again, more mouth and throat issues, um, and more difficulty getting food in. So if that got me down then to say, 50% of where I should be, um, that was probably at that point early February. Um, Once we finally got everything out, all the mishaps and the unrelated to surgery medical issues under wraps, um, I felt like I started making good progress on food and water intake. Um, Apparently, what I learned in the process is if you're down that low, below what is considered like minimum standard, um, just suddenly eating right isn't going to bring you back. It might keep you from getting worse, but it won't bring you back. One of the errors I made in that whole process that no one bothered to explain to me ahead of time is, I was convinced a lot of it had to do with dehydration. So I started really focusing on getting my 64 ounces a day minimum of water in. What no one explained to me is that if you are hammering in that much water and not enough nutrition, that water basically goes through and washes all the nutrition you have out of you. Um, which is what I did. That's how it went. That's what happened. At that point, now we're probably middle February, um, because of having no real nutrients left in my body, the weakness set in. And in a very short amount of time, I went from, being able to get up and around okay to one night coming back from the bathroom, getting very weak and very lightheaded and kind of having to hang on Deb to not hit the floor. At that point, we borrowed a walker from a friend. And for like another week, I was able to get around with that okay. And then it just progressed and got worse. And I woke up one morning, we'll call this the start of the incident. Woke up on a Thursday morning, sat up like I normally do, swung my legs off the bed like I normally do. And as soon as I went to lean forward to reach for something, got a little spacey and just any trace of weakness left me. And can't really call it a fall, but I slid off onto the floor. Kind of surprised me. I didn't feel I was that bad off. Uh, at that point, I could offer no help in getting back up on the bed or anything. Deb was there, thankfully, uh, and there was just nothing I could do to get myself back up on the bed. Um, at that point, we called the Alton Fire Department, who were incredible. Deb explained what had happened with all her experience in home health care and everything. Told them flat out he is a big guy. They sent, it might have been 5 or 6 people, I am not even sure. At which point they got me up onto a machine that allowed them to walk me down my back staircase into the garage and out to the ambulance. And we headed for the hospital in Wolfboro. And I'll pause there and I'll pick up at the hospital in Wolfboro in part 3. A couple people have asked about turning on the YouTube comments. And just so everybody is aware, I'm not turning on any comments on YouTube about this stuff. To be blunt, when I go on about snowmobile stuff or guitar stuff, there are just too many rude, obnoxious, hateful people out there. And I don't really have room for any of that. And I'll see you in part 3.